everyone, my name is Asma,
Kalau gitu sama bisa kan
and these are
kok
my teammates,
ada
Yuri,
juga
Prima Sukma, and Raisa Putri. And today we will present to you our essay entitled, Is it true that Islam is capturing? So without further ado, let's go start.
Men
kalau bisa kan nggak apa-apa jadi malah yang naik ini dia naik
but you know that it's very men cannot show their
kalau misalnya buat basket atau yang
because
beda nggak
they're supposed to be
kalau
strong.
yang ketika
For
pentokan
instance, they cannot crying or showing their feelings, and it causes oppression towards them. That's what we call today with toxic masculinity. And because of this problem, it leads them to the oppression towards us, women.
mau ya Pak
Women were as they go. We don't have any opportunities, and we must tolerate the domestic violence. Because of that, it leads to patriarchy. Do you know guys what is this picture? It's Islamophobia. The stigma that promotes Islam is patriarchy closely related with Islamophobia. Phenomenon that right misunderstanding about Islamic teaching. This stigma often arises because Islamophobic views that wrongly interpret about Islamic practice.
Okay, so for years, many people have held the stigma that Islam promotes patriarchy, right? So this belief stems from several factors. For example, roles like are traditionally male-dominated are often misinterpreted as the evidence that Islam promotes patriarchy. So such views overlook the fact that Islam fundamentally promotes justice, equality, and also respect for each other. So according to the SMA Al Hikmah studies revisiting the Islam patriarchy nexus, these misunderstandings are more about cultural biases and Islamophobia rather than what Islam actually teaches. So, that are beneficial for women, which is referred as fairness. Okay.
Some individuals who don't have a thorough understanding about Islamic teaching mistakenly believe that Islam teach to attain paradise we need to obey all commands for men. The truth is, Islam as fundamentally promotes justice, equality, leadership, and individuals are not meant to be determined by the gender.
Now, what does this mean? Okay. Right now, we will discuss about some conceptual difference between global patriarchy and Islam. First of all, in the patriarchal view, it generally promotes male superiority, and it is rooted in social and cultural systems. For example, wage inequality, political representation, social-cultural issues such as prioritizing traditional male roles and limiting women's roles in terms of work, education, social rights, and many Islamic periods, women played prominent roles in all aspects. In the global patriarchal view, only men are entitled to inheritance, whereas in Islamic views, women's inheritance rights are recognized and guaranteed. Globally, many feminist movements make people think that Muslims strongly uphold patriarchal culture, when in fact, Islam has a strong feminist movement and has been driven by an advocate named Amin on the late 20th century. He criticized the opposite treatment of Egyptian women by a Muslim man. He argued that Quran supports women's rights, and he highlighted the ignorance of women due to the lack of education and social isolation. Now, in addition to Qasim Amin, there is also Fatima Mernissi, who emphasized the role of women in spreading Islam. So she criticized the hadith that misogynistic hadith.
So here's the data on why Islam do not promote patriarchy. So the global gender gap index measures gender-based disparities across various countries. So this index assess gaps between men and women political, labor, and also economic aspects.
So a score of 1 indicates a full parity, while worse scores signify greater disparities.
So, if more than a half of non-Muslim major in the country, you can see from the difference between UAE and Italy. If more than a half of non-Muslim major in the country display patriarchal structures compared to the Muslim countries, does this imply that Islam promotes patriarchy? However, the main factor behind this belief is that Islamophobia and also cultural biases.
So what we want to convey here is that Islam does not uphold patriarchal culture, but also does not uphold gender equality. However, Islam upholds the concept of gender equality, where there's equality in its accordance with the abilities of each individual. That's all from us. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We are team 107. Thank you for being here. My name is Mirza. I'm holding the photo. There's beside me, there's Ryan, and Yahya, and Iza. Adalah Iza Haitami. Because we will present our research titled by religious views in Indonesia towards patriarchal culture and impacts on victims. Our research focuses on how different religions in Indonesia perceive patriarchal culture and the resulting impact on women and children, especially those affected by domestic violence. For this research, there is a TikTok video that may be related with our research. You can watch it first. There is I will make this fast. The key themes is rejection of patriarchy and empowerment. First point is being girls can be sick because there's no one to take care of her, and the one who take care of her family is herself. And the second point is being girls have to be smart, but don't be too smart. If you does, they won't marry you. And the second is promotion of tolerance and respect. Third is positivity and resilience. For the background, remember.
Alright, this is our chart. It is based on the data we have collected on how often the usage of misinterpretation of patriarchy by the 6 different religions in Indonesia. It shows that Islam leading with around 33%, likely due to its large population in Indonesia, followed by Protestantism, and then Catholicism, and then Hinduism, Buddhism, and lastly, at the lowest place, Confucianism.
Next, I will explain the background so you will know about patriarchy more deeply. To provide some context, patriarchal culture remains prevalent in Indonesia, where men traditionally hold more power than women. This imbalance often leads to a domestic violence and social inequality.
Okay, so for the formulation, the core question we have to address is, what is the view of religions in Indonesia towards patriarchal culture? And our objective is to identify the religious perspectives on patriarchal patriarchy and examine its effects on victims, especially towards women and children. To address this research question, we used a literature study with a qualitative and descriptive approach. We sourced our data from both primary and secondary materials, including religious texts, academic papers, and relevant literature concerning religion, culture, and gender in Indonesia. Now let's look at how different religions in Indonesia view patriarchy. Firstly, Islam promotes equality between man and woman, explicitly rejecting patriarchy. For example, in the Quran's Surah number 49, verse 13, that translates to, "O mankind, indeed we have created you from male and female and made you peoples and tribes that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Indeed, Allah is knowing and responsive." This verse highlights that all humans are equal in the eyes of Allah, and the criteria for superiority are piety and righteousness, not gender. And Christianity similarly advocates for gender equality and opposes oppressive systems. Buddhism teaches respect for all individuals, including women, and opposes discrimination. Hinduism honors women, emphasizing respect and equality in society. And the last, Confucianism, sees men and women as equal in their societal roles. All of these religions fundamentally reject patriarchal norms, though cultural misinterpretation often suggests otherwise.
Alright, so we have here the impacts of misinterpretation of patriarchy on victims. The first being physical impact. Many victims suffer physical injuries as a result of domestic violence, abusive relationships or household, and even some endure long-term health issues. And then there is psychological impact. Victims often experience trauma, depression, anxiety, and low self-esteem due to sustained abuse. And then finally, there is social impact. So in the context of social impact, victims may face stigma, or they might isolate themselves from society. They might get a divorce, and even putting negative effects on their own children in the future. Next. So what makes our research relevant? Our research stands out because it offers a contextualized view on how religious teachings regarding patriarchy. So this approach helps to clarify misinterpretation and supports a more accurate understanding of how religion promotes gender equality. We believe that our research can contribute to societal changes by encouraging a deeper understanding on patriarchal culture through religious eyes or lens.
Last thing is conclusion. In conclusion, our findings show that all major religions in Indonesia rejects patriarchy and emphasize gender equality. However, patriarchal practices persist due to cultural misinterpretations of religious teachings. So that's it. Thank you from us. Thank you for Ustad and Ustada for this special opportunity for us to participate in Belanda.
Thank you. You're Gracias, gracias.
My name is Fatima. Thank you so much today for for having me. I'm going to talk about a recent project that I did, and it's called My Mother Made Me Die Out of Love. I know it's a weird name. But before that, I would like to ask you if you would like to participate in making some puppets with me. Feel free to join. If not, it's really okay. So I'm gonna just hand on a few items and stuff. My friend is gonna give you fabric if you would like. You can take a couple of pieces, and then just feel free to be as creative as you can. Hand it out to each other, and please don't feel very and I'm going to show you a little bit of instruction to help you if you would like to follow that, but then I would suggest don't really follow anything. Just do your, you take whatever you would like to, whatever you think is going to be useful for you to make a puppet or a doll. Just take your items and then. So I'm going to just show you a little bit of instruction as well. So I come from Iran, even though I did not grow up in Iran, but I come from this small town in Iran, So I come from this small town in Iran where one of the very beautiful traditions they used to have was for mothers to teach their daughters to make this beautiful doll like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when they did not have access to the industry. So what they used to do was collect the ice cream sticks and then any leftover from the clothes and then take the buttons and create a face. And then just, as I am showing in the photo, just put a little bit of the fabric, use a thread around it and create a face. And then after that, dress it up the way they want to. But of course, because I come from this small town in Iran and it's a very Islamic region and a very conservative village, usually the kind of a doll that they would make was very covered, like with the scarf, and then also a chador, and which is like a abaya kind of a style. So I don't know if you know, but it's like the black, it's a pullover kind of a chador thingy. But then of course more colorful because we come from this very hot climate city that is almost impossible to wear black all the time. It's very hot, it's 55 degrees, very similar. Okay, I know Indonesia is also hot, but so there's a lot of similarities. So usually we go also very vibrant, just exactly how your culture you use very vibrant colors. So that's why I wanted to show you this is how we do it, but feel free to do it the way you would like to do it. So I moved to the Netherlands 2 years ago. I moved here to study art because I did always believe art is the connection between the disconnected communities, because I always thought if there is a way for us to survive this world that is full of cruelty, it's through art. Unfortunately, very shortly after my arrival, in 2 weeks after, something very brutal happened in my country. And that was a girl from a very minority society traveled from Kurdistan traveled to Tehran, which is the capital of Iran. And she was captured by morality police. The concept of morality police is, because Iran is an Islamic country, by the government, which means people do not have the choice to decide if they want to be Muslim or not. They have to follow the Islamic rule, which means if you go to Iran, you don't see people really cover up. You see them just having something on their head, which is very disrespectful to Islam, because they're forced to do that, not because of choice. So this girl had been outside with her brother, walking in the metro. The morality police captures her, takes her in, and they push her and they threw her in advance, saying hey, you're not following the Islamic rule, you have to be educated, we're taking you to the detention center to educate you. But knowing the brutality that police usually does and acts, what happened was just a few hours after she arrived to the detention center, she fell off. She went into a coma. 2 days after, she passed out. She passed away. This made people start talking and getting very angry, including myself. We were very sad and we couldn't believe it that you can die because somebody decided to decide for themselves what to wear. This is the basic right everybody should have. Being Muslim or not Muslim has nothing to do with this. It's just the agenda of the government that is putting you in that situation, forcing you to do something that you don't want to do. So people had it enough. They started going to the streets, being very angry, protesting. also this is what we did also here in the Netherlands. As you can see, this was the very first protest I participated in. I was very scared, miles and miles away from Iran. Still, I was very scared to go to the streets, like really shaking every single time going to the street, thinking, yeah, now they're gonna recognize me, they're gonna give hard time to my family because my entire family lives in Iran, even though I didn't grow up in Iran, which is funny. But then after that, I realized if I'm scared and the people in the streets in Iran are scared, then who's gonna speak up? And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to put a stop to this silence that I had until then and start talking about things that I think they are very against women specifically, because as you guys also talked about this patriarchal system, it's just like they use Islam to suppress women in any way that is possible. So that's when I started my that I called it Three Little Lines. It's a story I wrote. You guys can just have a look at it quickly, like it's in the book. I'm just gonna give it to, yeah, like just a book and like the story I wrote. What I did was during that time, I started having conversations from 3 different girls from my hometown, girls that they are very close to me. Either they are my nieces or my sisters or my cousins. And even my very close friends, we grew up together, not physically, but then every year that I would travel back to Iran, I would see them, and they're very dear to me. So as I said, I come from this small town, and then of course it's very conservative, and then also you see a lot of early marriages before the age of 18, for the girls and the boys. But of course, boys are more superior, as also you guys talked about a bit ago. They go to the military service, which means this happens after the age of 21. And then, so usually they get married after that. But the girls, when they're at the age of 13 or 14, the family usually like, oh, okay, I think it's time for you. Now you know how to cook, so you're ready to get married. So that's when I started having conversations with the girls, and I wanted to understand what's going on. My question was, what are the reasons behind these early marriages? I was not criticizing that. I just wanted to understand because a lot of the girls that I spoke to, they were not unhappy. So I wanted to understand what's going on behind that. So I started collecting first with the photos, so you can see these red photos in the book. Of course, I had to edit them so their faces are not recognizable because of privacy matters. But then also I wanted to understand that is it only that? Is it because of the society? Is it because of the religion that they think they should get married that early? Or is it because of the government? Or is it just a combination of all? So I was just trying to figure that out. So the first thing that came to my mind was this setting of the doll making, because I remember clearly that in a setting where the mother sits with their daughter, or the family girl sitting somebody older and telling them, hey my girls, it's a beautiful tradition, teaching them how to be creative, how to use leftover items, how to be sustainable. But then at the same time, it is very important to understand what comes out of it. So the mother, without knowing, or this older person, without knowing, is imposing ideology in the girl's head, without them even knowing. For example, yes, my girl, you should be a good girl for your husband. What is a good girl here? Does it mean to say yes to whatever they say? What does it mean? Like the question were far more than that. So I wanted to understand what's going on in those settings, and maybe use that setting in order to change the mindset or the oppression that comes out of it. So that's why I called it My Mother Gave Me by Allah. So here I asked my own mother actually to send me a video of this process. So in my previous project I presented it, I projected it on the video, so it worked as an instruction for the people who wanted to, let's say, create those dolls. And after that, also as I said, I wanted to understand what are the other factors. So is it the government only? So for example, we have a lesson in the 12-year book that says marriage has no age, only situation, which means if you feel you're ready to get married, go ahead, get married. And it's like, okay, this is nonsense. You shouldn't be promoting such a thing for your own governmental agenda, which is increasing the population of the country, for example, and which is right now going on, and it's on their agenda. And then, of course, I wanted to create a setting like a home feeling where people can feel comfortable and they can have conversations, not about themselves only, but maybe also about their mother, about their sister, the thing that they have seen. Not only about marriage, early marriages, but then also about little things that oppress the female around them. And also, I had the chance also to represent the project in a different location, but also a lot of very interesting conversations came out. This time we had a chance to sometime to read the book together, read the stories and discuss it. And then what I really loved about it was the fact that everybody related to those stories in their own way. Different cultures came out of it. Of course, the people who were from Germany have no context where it's from, but then also they were sharing their own stories with me in a different way. And yeah, so one thing that was very interesting at the end of my exhibition or the project that I figured out and really loved was that when everybody knew what to follow, they would create those dolls with the chador and all covered up, layered up. But then when the conversations were happening, everybody started changing the dolls in their own way, with their own perspective, the way they wanted these dolls to look, or these puppets to feel like. So the shapes started changing, and after some time, when I went back in 3-4 days, I couldn't recognize the dolls anymore. They were not the puppets that I presented, and that's something I felt very beautiful, and it felt very strong to me that by having such settings, you can just change so many little things without us even noticing. And that was the reason why I asked you, please feel free to do the dolls the way you would like to do them, not really follow the instructions here. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much. And this was for me. And if you have any questions, let me know.
Do you guys have any questions for Fatima?
Or how to make dolls?
Yeah, you can ask that too.
I see the fabrics are still at the back. Okay. Yeah, also I brought some of the dolls that was created like differently, which I really love. This is one the one that I created myself, but then they shifted, like they shifted their shape by the end of the exhibition, which felt like different. Yeah, so they did not look as the way I gave them instructions at all. Yeah, so people started using their own culture, aspects of their own cultures in this doll making.
So you basically just wrap the fabric around, right?
Yeah, do you want me to show the instructions again?
Yeah, I think so.
We go back. So you take a stick and a bottom, and then you put a fabric on top, like this, and then you thread to just stick it strongly. So the fabric doesn't fall, and then you can dress it up with the other parts of fabric the way you want. Yeah, we can make a smaller.
Was there thread?
Yeah, they are in the smaller basket that I gave.
Oh, in a smaller basket there's
Yeah.
and then you tie it around.
Yeah, so maybe we can
There's supposed to be thread in the basket. You can find it and then you can just tie it around. Oh, there's a thread.
yes.
Ah, okay. Anybody wants thread or
Benangnya ada di sini.
And then just hand it on to each other. So everybody can have it.
Hindi kaya
Of course, like really, really long thread.
Yeah. Oh, there you are. Okay. Yeah, there was.
Ada yang itu bagus. Anybody else need scissors there? Anybody needs a scissor?
Mau dikasihin nggak? Mau ngambil dulu? Itu ada benang, ada bagus ya. Oh ini di ada responding ke sini. Soalnya masih ada akademik ya ada
You're welcome.
ya kultural studies itu ada yang shopping nanti idea company itu maunya menjadi apa ya, menjadi pemantik diskusi nanti dengan workshop. Tapi ini nanti kan ada berbagi ide gitu nanti ada semua itu sambil bikin ide mereka sendiri. Jadi mereka semua bisa ini banyak
Iya dong. Sengaja. Ini Pak Budi. Oh, kita kemana bos sekarang?
Makasih ya, terus kemudian balik lagi di sini.
detox apa?
Ya nanti setelah makan siang.
Bisa sih supaya enak, supaya kepedesannya itu mengikat dan banding.
You just go and say I have to make a call and then I'll come back. Somebody comes back, give me the card, I'll go. Yeah,
We've done that before with Adele.
Apakah ada pertanyaan ke Fatimah tentang instalasinya? Oke.
Mereka semua kayak relate on a personal level. Jadi mungkin nggak ada pertanyaan yang
Itu bisa mau pinjam penting ya. I should do the test. You have some from China. Yeah, I should. No, seriously, why not? I have a running face. How much for that? Maybe it's 0.5%.